In addition to your reporting on all the horrors and the vast variety of horrors that have been going on just this election season, you've actually written a handful of posts that actually show it doesn't have to be that way, and that, you know, and while not perfect in some of these states, there actually are people who are actually trying to make it so that more people actually have the right to vote. One thing that you wrote about is both in Virginia and Maryland, they have restored voting rights for felons. Tell us about that.
Yes, so this is a big debate across the country. All states have a very wide variety of laws regarding who can vote after serving a felony sentence. Some states allow them to vote right away. Some states even allow them to vote while they're in prison, such as Washington, D.C. and Maine. But in some states, you lose your voting rights for the rest of your life, even if you already served your sentence, already paid your debt to society. And this is disenfranchising millions of people across the country. And so we're seeing a little bit of movement against that trend. And in Virginia, the Democratic governor, Terry McAuliffe, just restored the voting rights of about 200,000 former felons, regardless of the nature of their crime. He had already previously restored the rights of those who had committed nonviolent drug offenses. And he argued that, look, this is a law that dates back to the Reconstruction era. It was pushed through in the late 1800s specifically to deny Black people the right to vote. They were very open and honest about that at the time. It's there in the historical record that that was the purpose of this law. And even though we've gotten rid of a lot of the other laws that served that purpose, you know, poll taxes and whatnot, this is still on the books, and that is wrong. And so he made that argument when getting rid of this. Predictably, there has been some outcry, and the Republican Party in Virginia is planning to sue to block this restoration of rights from happening.
Yeah, I mean, in Baltimore, you had a whole post about talking to people who actually got to vote for the first time and the importance of it. And we're almost out of time here. And like but I want to stick on Baltimore, but another example, Vermont just passed a bill that automatically registers people if they go to the DMV. Yeah. There are ways to make it easier. But let's end on Baltimore and the importance for people who have been denied the right to vote actually getting to vote for the first time.
Yeah, so I went to the polls early voting in Maryland with a group of folks who had gotten their rights restored. So in Maryland, the legislature passed a bill to restore the rights of people who finished their prison sentence but were still on parole or probation, which covers about 40,000 people in the state. And these were some of those people. And some of them had not voted in decades. Some of them had never voted in their lives. Because, you know, they committed their crime when they were so young, and just have been in the criminal justice system ever since. And it was extremely moving to go with them. They talked about, you know, they said things like, you know, I used to harm this community through my drug habit, and this is my chance to do something positive for this community and have a voice and make it better. And, you know, Baltimore had a very close, contentious mayoral election. It had a very close, heated Senate race in addition to the presidential primary. And so these folks felt really involved in and invested in their communities. And I researched and found that there was a lot of evidence that being able to vote does prevent people from committing offenses in the future and going back to prison. It has an effect on recidivism. So it was very impactful to talk to these folks about what it meant to them to be reintegrated into the democratic process.